Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I have one of my teachers and mentors here today. I'm super excited to share. Priscilla and I met, it's been at least a couple years, I would say, at this point, when I somehow serendipitously joined a meditation you were doing on Mary Magdalene, and it was on Mary Magdalene's feast day. And it was such a profound meditation where we went on this beautiful journey together. And I was like intrigued. I was like, I need to learn meditation from this woman. I need to understand how these journeys work. And it's been beautiful for me because it's brought me on this journey where I joined your Galactic Temples of Light community to tap into that journeying energy. And then I also took Cosmic Conscious Reiki with you as well to learn about the energy work aspect of it. Um, and went to your Banff retreat, which was so incredible, where we went and visited all through the Rockies and went and did hikes and cold plunges at various different lakes that were associated with different chakra systems, which was just life-changing. So I'm just so happy to have you here and welcome and just kind of share a little bit with our community. So yay.
Thank you, Meaghan. Blessings, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to come into your community. Priscilla Campos with the Temples of Atlantis. What I love is all things Atlantean. So I do have a cold today. I'm detoxing from that eclipse, I think. So my voice is not what it usually is, but I love all things Atlantean. And it's my firm belief that all roads currently in our civilization lead back to golden Atlantis. And what that means is that whether you are thriving or struggling or being challenged, that it's very much connected to your other lifetimes that you've had within this realm. Now, the two master civilizations of Earth currently are Lemuria and Atlantis. And because we're very ancient beings, you've probably had significant lifetimes in both. Sometimes the ones that you remember from either of them can be stuck in the trauma stage. So one of my biggest missions is to help heal the trauma from the Great Fall, which can be feeling lots of betrayal, insecurities about using your gifts once again, using your voice, feeling insecure with your partner because you may have had a part in Atlantis where you parted ways, not in the best of ways. So there's a lot of things that come up from the past, and I've discovered it through. I've been teaching about Atlantis since I want to say 2019. And then a lot of my Golden Atlantean healings and Akashic readings really bring up things from these ancient lifetimes, which also includes their colonies of Egypt and Greece and Turkey and Spain and Portugal and the UK and the Mayas and the Incas and so forth. So if you don't have that understanding yet, understand that the island continent of Atlantis is in the Atlantic Ocean, and therefore it influences everything that surrounds the Atlantic Ocean, whereas the Lemurian continent was in the Pacific Ocean, and therefore it influences everything around the Pacific Ocean, like Asia, the western coast of North America, South America, the islands, Australia, and such. So there's a huge, huge connection to what we're living out now. Some people would call it karma, but it's just like we've had incredible times on this planet before, far beyond what our history books talk about, which is usually the last, 4 to 6,000 years. To me, that would be recent history. Ancient history, we're going back, Golden Atlantis is 30,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago. The heyday of Lemuria is 80,000 years ago. So there's a lot for us to discover. And this is what I do in my work, is that I connect people to their ancient and multidimensional selves, which includes ancient civilizations on this realm. For a lot of you that love Avalon, love Egypt, you're just fascinated by Greece, these kinds of places. But then I also connect people to their galactic history, which is where the galactic temples of light come in. And once you start to have that understanding that you're much more than this current avatar, and if you can connect with those versions of you, you get to understand your mission, your path, and your signature, like your soul's blueprint, in a whole deeper way. So that's kind of the gist, I think, of what I do. Hopefully I
Yeah.
covered a lot of it.
I love it. I love it. Like, let's just, I want to kind of like set the stage here. Like
Mm.
when someone comes to learn with you or to journey with you or to receive a session with you, what do you find is like the thing where that why they're wanting to be in your world, why they're wanting to come? Like what's the that they're feeling where they're like, okay, I need to get a sense of how this works.
I find people just feel like they're stuck on their path. They've been doing things, they're already started their spiritual awakening. They've been doing things, but they can't get the visions, or they can't get a fuller picture of what it all means. And I think one of my gifts through the activations and meditation activations is really helping people. It's more than expand their third eye and activate it. It's a total like reprogramming and opening of it. And so they get to see these versions of them. And then, like I said, they put these pieces together. And so overall, what I've seen with my students is they come out being more confident about who they are, because you have your past anchored within you. And then I just see them thriving in their own markets of, coaching, teaching Reiki, living a better life, and making massive transformations. I say like a golden Atlantean healing has the potential to literally ripple through your life. I've seen amazing things happen with it. I've seen drastic things happen with it. Like remember one of my clients filed for divorce within 3 weeks of the healing. I was like, whoa, that's a lot. But it's all my work is very activating, and it's like whatever's been dormant within you, whatever's been hidden or sleepy and is ready to be awakened. That's what a session does with me, a one-on-one, crystal activation at a retreat, an Atlantean Akashic reading. They all do something that your soul wants me to do. And I want to really stress is that I'm just like, in that way, I'm just like a channeler, or I'm the vessel, but everyone I work with, you're the actual one that's doing the work. I just have an ability to tap into your soul's wisdom. And we all do, but we're not trained that way yet. And that's what happens as well through my programs and my classes, is that you get to understand your higher self, your Holy Spirit. And once you know that, you can be your authentic self without fear, without worry. Everyone's authentic version is different. But there's way less stumbling and blocking and hiding. And I just finished a retreat in Egypt in November. And for those people that came with me, I'm just seeing them step up in beautiful ways where they had those nagging thoughts before. It's been like rewritten, and where they've struggled in the deepest traumas, they're being healed after decades of working on them. So that's the beauty of when we can do potent work online, of course, and it's wonderful. This is how we create community, is how Meaghan's created her community. But what I like about retreats is it gives you that ability to be in someone's field in person. And where I hold my retreats, for the most part, are very sacred places. So Meaghan joined me for, it was called the Atlantean Water Codes in the Rocky Mountain Chakra System. And those lakes, they're beyond special, right? They're visually stunning, but they're energetically both grounding and they awaken another part of you. So everything I choose for me in general has to have a connection to the ancient civilizations that I teach about. Um, and it's fun to explore it. That's all I can say, is like, you can go on a tour by yourself, absolutely. But when you go with a teacher of Atlantis, you're going to learn the real history and the real energy of those spots. Because if you don't know, most places on our world right now, most temples are built upon ancient Atlantean and Lemurian temples. Those are not the original ones, they're the ones that are remaining. But again, if you go back 50,000 years, 80,000 years, 100,000 years, imagine the energy you tap into when you go to these sacred sites.
Well, and this is the thing I think that's so incredible about doing stuff in person and doing retreats, because like I love hiking. I love being up in the mountains. I love the Rockies. Like all that stuff is stuff that I do. Well, not necessarily the Rockies, but I do in my day to day, like hike around BC, go to the lakes around BC. Like that's what I love to do. But being able to be there, understanding the energies that were at play and working with the energies very mindfully It was so profound. And the crystal healing activations that we did on each lake, like life changing. Like I feel like, especially that hike to Lake O'Hara, that was a massive initiation for me, right? Like we can talk about it. I'm fine talking about it, but that was a massive initiation.
It was. I think I almost want to change the word retreat, at least for me, into initiations, because that's what it
Oh,
truly is, right? It's like a grand journey of the soul that you go on. Wherever you started, whatever day one is, there's a whole lot that transforms in 5 days and 7 days and 14 days. And of course, you don't come back the same, and you need time to integrate it. But I don't know what to say, except it's like an honor for me to be in person with people. And like I love my crystals. My crystals are my most powerful healing tools. They come with me wherever I go. And so they've done, activations on in person on people, I'd say over 500 times. So the amount of energy that they have is incredible. But then when you're on a really strong ley line of earth, it's like they pick it up. So the Rocky Mountains is just it's so beautiful, and it's so lucky that we have it here in Canada. But I know there's a lot of people that can't come to Canada to receive that.
or don't want to hike up and down a mountain for 20 kilometers to get their activations.
Yeah, so you can join me in Greece and Turkey on a private bus, air-conditioned bus with 4 and 5 star hotels, and get dropped off at the site, and then just be there. And then we leave and go to the next site. I've traveled Greece 3 times now in this lifetime. Greece, if you've never been, anyone that's never been, to me, it's my most favorite place on the planet so far. I have dreamt of Greece my whole life, Greece and Egypt. Now that I've been to both, um, Egypt is not my home. Egypt is a mass place of initiation. Like if you feel stuck, if you feel like I got to make massive change in my life, go to Egypt, get ripped apart, and then get rebuilt. Um, that's what will happen there. Greece is the energy of Greece is like this love and groundedness, but full of this magic mysticism from the ancients. And of course, a lot of the ruins are in ruin, and they're not the way that they were, but the energy is there. Now, when I went in 2017, I was awake, but I had just started my Atlantean path. And the most remarkable thing about that journey, I went on a tour, but it wasn't a spiritual retreat. But for me, it was a spiritual retreat. So I traveled alone, but with a group. And it was profound. So every time I went to another temple site, particularly Apollo at Delphi, if those of you are familiar, the Oracle at Delphi, this is where the famed oracles used to be, and tell the kings how to prepare for war and such. But I remember Apollo meeting him energetically and him powering me up. He said, I'm going to give you 50 times the amount of light you already hold, so that when people meet you going forward, you will carry a golden aura within your field. And I really didn't know what that meant at that time, but I can honestly say that I've had dozens upon dozens of people tell me, man, Priscilla, your aura is so golden. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, that's Apollo. Something else is Asclepius is the Greek god of medicine. And I went to his temple, which actually also has a theater. And at that time, I had my Reiki level 2. And he taught me how to pull energies from the cosmos and the earth using my hands and how to combine them. And up to that point, nobody had taught me that. He taught me a lot of grounding techniques. And when I get these downloads, they're like, like a 30-second download, or maybe I'm writing it in my journal and it takes a little bit longer to write out. But after that, when I took a lot of training in 2018 and 2019, I was shocked that that's what my teachers were then teaching me, how to combine this energy, bring into your heart space, how to do this. And it's like everything that happened to me on that trip was real. And so what I learned on that trip was things that are important for people like us to visit, and things that the general public likes to visit. So my tour it's a private tour. It's through Trafalgar. Trafalgar is an incredible company. I've done 3 or 4 tours with them. So they're a higher end company. And just being under their care, number one, like you don't have to carry your bags anywhere. That's one of the one things I love is that you get to your new hotel, they take your bag to your room. There it is. The next morning, you simply put your bag outside of your room and presto, it's back on the bus. They take very good care of you. I'd say 60 to 70% of the meals are included. And these are not like buffet, cheap buffets. These are like Greek food is my
My
favorite food in the whole,
favorite food.
and when you eat it in Greece, it's so fresh and it's so beautiful and it's so full of life force that I said I never ordered a dessert there because they give you watermelon, fresh watermelon after every meal, or they did. And all I can say is like you're so satisfied. It's so fresh and it's so beautiful. You feel amazing. I've been a vegetarian for a long time, and so I have no problem eating vegetarian there. But some of their extras that they have performances while you're eating, right? They have traditional Greek dancers. They handpick all the hotels, beautiful pools. Usually with Trafalgar, you're done touring in Greece by 2 or 3. So then you just spend the night at the pool and at your hotel and unwinding. And that's when we as a group have time to integrate and talk about the day, talk about how that crystal activation at Zeus's temple is sitting with you, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is incredible. I was in Greece as well. It would have been 2017. How funny that we were there at the same time.
Which month were you there?
It would have been, I think it was July.
Okay. I was there I went August, like somewhere around August 10th for 2 weeks. So
Amazing. And it
we were
was
crossing
so,
lines. We didn't even know we were doing some of the same work.
I know. It was so intense, so amazing, so beautiful. One of my favorite trips of all time, dying to revisit. But I think being able to go to such beautiful places that have like beautiful history, beautiful food, beautiful art, and then having you come in as a guide to connect with that spirituality aspect, to go and do those healings, to do those connections with the various different guides and deities that you want to work with. I just think this is such a sacred gift. So I'm so excited about it. Do you want to talk a little bit more about like kind of what you're thinking when people like who it's for and like what their experiences will be, why they would want to do this type of spiritual, it's basically a spiritual pilgrimage, right?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Who it's for is people that have a fascination with the ancient world, number one. Understanding that you are much more again than what you seem. So you have to understand that you're a soul that comes back in different incarnations. If you don't have that understanding, then I'm going to ruffle your feathers a little bit too much. So people on their spiritual path that are really looking to connect not only to their Greek and Turkish lifetimes, but to that part of them that speaks to their divine gifts, right? A lot of us have blockages from different punishments and executions and different deaths in our lifetime, and our throat gets blocked, our heart gets blocked, our sacral chakra gets blocked. So it has to be for a spiritual enthusiast and someone that's also comfortable traveling internationally. Because in Greece, you're working with the euro, and it's a very European place. You feel like you're in Europe. When you go to Turkey, it's a Muslim country. It's an incredible country. I've been a couple times to Turkey. The hospitality I receive in Turkey is among the best I've ever received. But they are different, and you'll feel different in Turkey because of the language, because of the people. But what's interesting is that in Turkey, they actually have the best preserved Greek monuments and temples because at many times throughout the history, Greece, owned parts of Turkey. So you have these incredible temples, especially near the Temple of Artemis, which was once one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world. It's the best preserved site in all of the world for ancient Greek architecture, and it's only been uncovered 10%, and they're still excavating, the remaining amount. So the sheer beauty of that is enough to put you in bliss, right? But then when you have the care, and I say I'm very hands-on, I like to create a container. We pull cards in the morning. The meditation work will already be done beforehand because I'm going to prepare each of my students with an online course that we're doing on Greece and Turkey. We're going to go visit energetically, we're going to go visit each of the 10 temples that we're seeing, because I'm really happy, and I had to work with Trafalgar really hard to get this covered. But out of the 12 Greek gods and goddesses, which are the Atlantean high priests and priestesses, we're going to go to 10 of their temples, which is incredible, between Greece and Turkey. And so, we're going to do meditations with Athena. And then when you go to the Parthenon, you're going to already have that information coded within you, that we can just enjoy being there without being, I can't run a meditation in a popular destination spot with like hundreds of people swarming around, but I can prepare you for it so that when you get there, we come back into that feeling, we get back into our notes, and then we connect to Athena. One of the highlights from my other trip was being on Mount Olympus, or Olympia, which is where Zeus and Hera's temples are. And you get the history of the first Olympic Games ever, and you get to step into some of their starting blocks, and you hear a lot of all their naked artistry that they were doing. It's really fascinating. So even though I bring the ancient history, we always have a guide with us that brings what they consider the ancient history, but the more recent history, and they're very, very well versed in it. I did request a guide that's more open-minded to cater to our group. But it's like going to these sites creates memories of a lifetime. And I have several imprints in my mind that happened naturally when I was in Greece. I didn't try to, but I have certain things I can recall. I can feel the air. I know the heat that was that day. I can hear the Mediterranean, sea. There's certain things that are imprinted in me. And I think whenever I'm really struggling with a Canadian winter, or an Albertan winter, I can just plug in that, and I instantly come into this blissful zone. So I've really, sometimes when I'm doing retreats, I can be like, go, 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 go. But I've also planned in rest days. Now, the Poseidon's temple is called Cape Sunion, and it's about an hour and a half um, from Athens, and you drive along the Aegean Sea. Now, the Aegean Sea should be what's across from Turkey, if I have my thing right. But every time I've went to this, I've always wished that I could stop at one of the beaches, but it's never included in the tour that I go on. And so I requested, okay, listen, we're going to go there. We're going to be at his temple, which is one of my favorite spots. We're going to eat at a cafe, and then we're just going to enjoy some downtime on the Greek beaches and just integrate. And the same thing in Turkey. There's these hot springs called, I think it's called Pamukkale, and they're famous. Everyone has seen them. They're like this ice glacier blue surrounded by white rock. Now, I've heard that visitors are no longer allowed to be in them. I think because, again, you think about massive tourism, people falling. But the hotel we're staying at has the same thermal water. So we're going to get the imprint of that energy. And then we're just going to be a little bit more private, and we're going to hang out, at this thermal spa. And most likely we'll go to a Turkish bath as well. I've been to a Turkish bath before. So it's also about understanding the current culture and really enjoying it, right? Enjoying the Greek food and the music, enjoying the Turkish hospitality and their apple tea. You will get apple tea everywhere you go. And it's an experience. It's a life-changing experience, because also the people you travel with, you probably know them on a soul level, and you'll be reconnected. And in some ways you will make old friends new again, and you'll be connected forever. My Egyptian retreat attendees, they're always chatting on WhatsApp, and I'm like, oh, what's happening in here? And then I see that they've had conversations for weeks that I haven't been a part of, but it's friendship, and it's sisterhood, and it's brotherhood. And my retreats are open to women and men throughout 2024.
I love it. Amazing. Everybody who's listening, you need to connect with Priscilla, follow her on Instagram. And if any of this intrigues you, send her a DM, because you guys will know very quickly in talking with her if this is a retreat that you're meant to be at or not. I'm hoping to come. I'm hoping that the universe is going to sort it out for me to come. I think it would be incredible. Like I said, Greece has always been one of my most favorite places, but it's so interesting how like your soul calls you to certain countries, certain areas, certain cities, and that feeling of home, right? And so being able to truly connect with that, to connect with your soul, the guides, and the deities and feel that energy in such a profound way. It's so meaningful.
And it's so beautiful that those circumstances stay with you for forever, right? Like I have my journal from 2017 in Greece, and I just reread it, I don't know, about 2 to 3 months ago. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, now it connects. Now it connects. Now that even makes so much more sense. So I do have early bird pricing on up until April 15th, which
Oh,
depending which tour you choose, because if it's you can either do Greece by itself or you can do Greece and Turkey together. So you save between $200 and $600 with the early bird, and then you also get bonuses, which I will always help my students either way. But I mean, some of the bonuses are we have a session before, we have a one-on-one session when we're there, we have a session after to really tie it all together. And because about 2 months after Greece, maybe 3 months after Greece, you're going to be like, what is all this? What's happening in my life? So that's a perfect time to do another Akashic reading and check in and see if there's anything we can shift or add clarity on. So it is my pleasure. You can do single occupancy, you can bring a friend, you can save some money by doing double occupancy. But what I like is that it is a private tour. So it's just going to be my container. And I think that's going to keep it a little bit more sacred versus having different energies come in and out of it. And like I said, it's open to women and men. I love to see mother and daughter duos come, sisters, best friends, couples, whoever is drawn. If you've always loved Greece, you've never really been fascinated by Turkey, but now you're getting intrigued. Check it out. You can message me on Instagram is the easiest at the Atlantean Priestess or Temples of Atlantis. I'll say Temples of Atlantis is my main account. And then my website is templesofatlantis.ca. I will drop a link with this video so that you can check out the retreats. And all prices are listed in Canadian. So for my Canadians, just so you know that, that's great. For my American and European clients, man, you be saving some money.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a significant discount
It's
if you're
like
thinking.
a 30 to 40% discount on the pricing. So, but I think it's very fairly priced for what the experience is. And it's land only. It doesn't include airfare because airfare is a whole another thing, but hopefully some people have air miles they can use. And
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all
thank
your
you.
wisdom with everyone. I
Thank
will drop the links, Priscilla's website, Instagram, and all that. I'll drop the links in here afterwards. And if anyone's just curious and wants to ask me questions about what it's been like working with Priscilla, I'm an open book. You guys can DM me as well. I know you can also DM her. So if anyone's curious about this, yeah, I think it will be an incredible experience, and I hope to be there as well.
I hope so, Megan. I'll hold space for you and tell the universe, get it all in alignment because I
Yes.
love Megan's laugh. I would love to see her get blown away at some of these temples. Like when we go see Megan's a very beautiful Venusian energy.
Mm.
So I would love to see her at Aphrodite's temple and for me to do some great activations there would be amazing.
It would be amazing. Oh, thank you so much.
Yes,
And yeah, thank you for coming and sharing. Mwah. Sending everyone love. Thanks for being here. Talk to you soon.